decides they want to transfer, the school can block the transfer if they want. One of the probably the most, well, not the most, but one of the one that stuck out was recently was Kansas State coach Bill Snyder. He had a receiver in Corey Sutton, and he wanted to transfer, and there were 35 different schools that he could have transferred from, and to, I should say, he could have transferred to, and Bill Snyder didn't want to let him. He blocked him until it was so much pressure that was applied to him to let the kid go that he finally did. And this is nothing new. This is nothing, out of the norm for schools to do. And we've seen it done. And they use the excuse of, going to another school, maybe, sharing information, or they'll go and say, well, we were paying them, or not paying them. Oh, I don't use that term, Jelani. We were, covering their tuition and scholarship and all that stuff, and coming up with all these bogus rules or reasons. And here's why I call it bogus, because college in general has changed so much. You're using a old rule and applying it in the modern day. Coaches can leave before the season is over. Coaches don't have to wait a year. So I am all for letting these kids transfer if they want to. And to me, the way I look at it, and maybe I look at it wrong, or maybe I'm just looking at it from a different angle, and that's what the show is about, the Wait a Minute Show, is that if I go to a school and I'm on scholarship, first off, we all know the scholarships are renewable every year. So they do not have to renew the scholarship. It's not like once when you commit, it says you're locked in for 4 years. Second is that if I play football, or let's just say I play basketball, college basketball, and I complete the semesters, I complete my freshman year or whatever, I complete my sophomore year, whatever it is, and the season's over, and I want to transfer for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be, a particular reason. For whatever reason, I want to transfer. The commitment that I gave you guys, I said I would be here this school year. I was there. I finished up. I played the sport. I went to class. I got my grades. I finished up. Now I should be able to move on if I want to. It's not like I came to the school, sat there, ate your food, went to class, didn't play, didn't do anything, and just sat around, and you haven't got any production out of me. Now, there are kids that are just stuck behind other players, but that's just life. Sometimes people are just better than you. You want to, transfer out and go and get the opportunity to play. But let's just be honest. This is a control matter. The school wants to be a control. The school doesn't want to give any type of edge to any other school. They don't want you going to a rival school. Now, if they want to negotiate and maybe say, look, you can transfer, but we get to pick one school that you cannot go to. Maybe they'll agree to something like that, because usually these kids have at least 2 to 3 maybe options that they could go. But just to say, I'm going to block you because I don't want you to go. And let's be honest, I'm sure some of this has been used as leverage that maybe they don't like the kid or the kid gets on their nerve or something happened. And this is, I'm going to get some get back. I'm going to pay back this kid. So I like the move of this group, of this, working group. And they're supposed to be meeting again in June to further discuss transfers. And I hope this happens, makes it a little bit more competitive, if a kid wants to leave. Now, and I don't think a kid really goes to a school with the intention of leaving. Usually they're there for however long that they planned on being there. If it's college football, they're usually going to plan to be there for 3 to 4 years. No kid is going to go in and say, you know what, after a year, I think I'll just transfer. I just want to see what it's like at this school. Something happened, whatever it is that happened, good, bad, on their end or the school's end, something happened. But just to block a kid and just say, you know what, you can't leave because we gave you a scholarship, I don't think that's right. I just don't think that's right. So if coaches can do it, the players should be able to do it too. That's just my thought. Now I'm going to talk about quarterback, and we spoke of it earlier. Florida State University quarterback DeAndre Francois. He finished up his freshman year and actually got injured, so he didn't actually finish the year, unfortunately. You don't want something like that to happen to anybody, but it did. You're playing football. It's a tough sport. But he is in the news for suspecting now. The police suspect that Francois was selling weed at an apartment, or I guess it was his apartment. So here's how the whole thing went down. They said that the police said they only found 17 grams of marijuana at his apartment. So this is his apartment. He wasn't arrested, but the whole thing of it is just like, what is weed doing around? Why are you, with, I guess, some other people I'm sure he wasn't the only one that was in there. Why are you around these other people? Now, I'm not condoning what happened. He is still subject to the investigation. They think that he was in possession of marijuana with the intent to sell. And I hate that term, because it just seems like it's so bland that you can use, with the intent to sell. Like, did he tell somebody, yo, I can hit you with that bag? I got you, son. I got something in my pocket or something. I get that if you're saying with intent to sell. But if he had it on his person and he could have been just smoking it. He could have been holding it for someone. Now, I'm not making any excuses, for the kid, because at the end of the day, he shouldn't have had it. He shouldn't have been around it. He shouldn't have been nowhere near it, and all this. But he is a kid. Children do stupid things. Hang out with people that they should not hang out with. But I just don't like the term possession of marijuana with intent to sell. It doesn't say anything in there where it was definitive that he was trying to sell some weed. Sluggo says intent is very subjective. Exactly. You can use that to do whatever it is that you want, If someone came over my place and they got weed or something like that, I don't know what's in their pocket or whatever, and maybe it drops, and it's sitting next to my couch. I don't see it on the side of my couch. Because it's my place, yeah, the police are going to hold me responsible, but you're really going to say, with the intent to sell? So here's the thing with Francois needs to understand. And when I heard this story, the first thing I thought about, I don't know if y'all remember this, and Angry Black Man is in the chat room. I'm sure he'll probably remember this, is the Jalen Rose situation where he was where he shouldn't have been. He knew that, at the trap house, but those were his homies. They were hanging out, and the police showed up. Jalen's sitting there playing Tecmo Bowl or whatever it was out then. His homies, yeah, they are involved in some stuff, but not Jalen. But because he's the star, he's the person everyone knows, now they tie Jalen to it, basically making him like he's just in there doing God knows what as well. And that's what I'm scared of, is that when you throw things out there like that, and then you're characterizing someone as a certain, as a certain type. And I don't condone. I've never smoked in my life, so I don't even like being around weed or anything like that. One, it's still against the law in certain places. And two, that's just not my thing, you know? Now, what's one of the things that people say? You go to college, smoke a little pot. People have said that, which I still don't get. I'm like, it's against the law at that time everywhere. But it's just like, no, that's not why you go to college. But that's just my thinking. But if you say that, a lot of people be like, oh, yeah, you experiment and you find yourself and all this stuff. So that's all I'm saying. It's just, let's pump the brakes, on this. Unless you had an undercover in there or somebody was in there and Francois was like, look, I can hook you up. Here's my prices. You can go bundle. You can go combo. Yeah, okay. That's an intent. But the possession, yeah, if he had it, he had it. It's just with the intent to sell. That just seemed, like Sluggo said, that just seemed very subjective, and it seems like it's too easy, to put that, on a kid, and especially kids do dumb things. We already know people be in college drinking underage, so we know, let's just be honest, we know they be smoking on stuff that they ain't supposed to be smoking, and they doing other stuff that they're not supposed to be doing, but don't add to it. That's all I'm saying, Put out there he had possession, 17 grams. They didn't make an arrest, but, hey, now you got to talk to your coach. Now you got to talk to your parents. Now you got to talk and then have a conversation about who he's hanging around and why are you in possession of this when you have so much at stake? Why are you putting this online? You shouldn't have it anyway, regardless if you have something at stake, but why are you doing this versus the whole intent thing, Sluggo said college kids could get busted for drugs every day of the week. It's a matter of which college or group within that college to target, so that's how Sluggo, feels, on it. But yeah, I mean, if you find a college that does not have drugs on it, I got a stack of papers that I want to sell you for $10,000 a piece, and you can have all of them. I mean, I wish I could say something different, but it is. It is exactly true. Is that college drugs is part of the mix. It's part of the mix. It part of the, comes with the territory, on it. So, I just hope this doesn't, hurt the kid, too bad. I hope he learned his lesson more than anything and just be like, you know what, let me just stay away from this. Or if there are people around me that are the culprit and I just got bundled in because I was associated with them, you got to figure that out. You got to figure out you going to keep rolling with them or have a conversation with them like, yo, if I'm around, don't have that stuff around me. Because I'm the one that's going to get in trouble. Everybody's going to target me. But, if you can't do that, then, we only hang out at certain times or whatever. But figure it out. And I hope that young man does figure it out. Now, we're going to transition out of college. From the first quarter, they kind of slowed down after that. But, they set the tone as far as like what they were going to do, in that game. Now, the only thing that really, because everyone was talking about, is Cleveland done? Are they in trouble? Indiana could go up 2-0 and then go home and have, home court advantage, and all that stuff. There's one thing that a lot of people didn't talk about that I was surprised about. And that's Victor Oladipo. Everyone talked about how Victor Oladipo, and I have nothing against Victor Oladipo. The man can play. I like his game. And he had 32 points. And to me, what I was thinking is that can Victor Oladipo continue to score 30 plus points in this series every night in the playoffs? Because that's what they're going to need to beat the Cavs. The Cavs were horrible. Some of that by their own doing, and then some of that as far as like what Indiana did. But you had to think that they were going to come back and make some type of necessary adjustments. Everyone was talking about LeBron needs to be more aggressive. And that he did, scoring 20 points in the first quarter. Now, they again,